Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's your boy Till here, and today we're going to be talking about some of 2K's lack of innovation on the defensive side of things when it comes to gameplay. Now, let's go ahead and start the video off just giving them their kudos and what they have improved in NBA 2K22 Next Gen. Interior defense. At the rim, it seems like you can contest a lot better than what you could in the previous year, but also they have a better understanding of what interior defense is as far as the stat or the rating that we got. Last year in 2K21, interior defense had two meanings throughout the year. One, it was for backdowns and actually controlling the post. So you could defend the post a little bit better at the beginning of the year. And then block rating was tied to actually contesting at the rim. Well, that confused a lot of people because in the past 2Ks, interior defense meant that it's how you contest, it's how you block, it's how anything that goes down as far as shot contest at the rim that would help you with that rating. Now in 2K22, this is now overall a lot better. As far as contesting shots at the rim, if you have an interior defense rating, typically your guy's probably gonna win that battle if they're taking a suspect shot at the rim. Or if you have a high block rating, most likely you're getting a volleyball spike, a nice grab block, snatch block, whatever the case may be. So that's the one thing that I would say that going into 2K22 that has been improved. But let's talk about a few things that essentially I believe are a lack of innovation on 2K's behalf, right? So we're going to just call this keywords for the video today, right? So let's put it in bullet format. Let's talk about vacuum, right? Vacuum screens. The next thing we're going to talk about, chase down blocks. And then we're going to talk about lateral movement. Now, there's going to be a few other things that we're going to add to this, but with this starting list, right, these are three things that I feel like 2K has either not touched or really has overpowered the offense to a point where offense just outshines defense, period. It doesn't matter in the player's hands how they perform more so than the game's mechanics in place that now playmakers with the ball in their hands have a natural advantage in the game to just outperform defense, regardless of what it is. So with that, first things first we're going to talk about is vacuum screens. The reason I bring this up is because a lot of you that have been following my content for the last 2-3 years as far as 2K content, you know I've been about playing defense and just being an overall two-way player, being able to do the things on the defensive side of the ball in order to create my offense and etc. Vice versa, whatever the case may be. I'm not one of these people who will just hide in the corner, refuse to play defense, and then call for the ball excessively on the offensive side of the ball, which, no shot at anybody in the community, a lot of people play this way. They just spam X on the defensive side of the ball, hoping to get a bump steal. Then they go to the other end, hoping to be the PG of the team and just make their clips that way. And that's just not good basketball to me, in my opinion. So right now, I got some next gen footage here that I want to take a look at. And specifically, it's going to be a lot of vacuum moments and moments that literally just does not make sense as far as innovation for basketball, because the players are just not linked at all. There is no punishment to the ball handler for being either in contact with the defender, one, to either being limited to space or movement. There is no advantage to the defender in order to cut off the offensive player or even send them into a different set of dribble moves, i.e. contact dribble moves, where maybe they have to get off a hip rod animation in order to break out of it and find another way to score. Rather that's moving the ball or going into their bag with getting out of that contact. That's one thing that 2K22 just does not have this year. So first things first, we're at this starting point in the gameplay, and there are going to be a lot of clips that I want to go over just to point out what I'm exactly talking about. Rather it's screens, rather it's contact movement, because here's the thing. There's no punishment to the ball handler for being a good defender. And I repeat that, there's no punishment to the ball handler for being a good defender. So if you're in contact with somebody, if you're shutting somebody down, if you're boxing somebody, there's no pickup animation. There's no stamina drain. There is nothing to make the ball handler think twice about having the ball in their hands for as long as they have it. And that's the problem with 2K now. This is why the game is in this ISO phase of two guys sit in the corner. One just dribbles out the shot clock until they can get around the defender with some wonky animation and then back up and shoot a three. Or it's one guy in the corner, pick and roll at the top. You just wait till you get a bad suction animation, and then the guy just finds a way to get a little bit of space, pulls a three while the defender is still fighting over some random vacuum animation. That is the problem with 2K right now, that there's just no innovation there when it comes to the gameplay. So now we're at this position, right? And me as a defender, right? This is a perimeter lockdown, 6'5", 93 speed, 91 excel, max perimeter defense. And you guys have seen me from Pro-Am all the way to 3v3, and I feel like I'm a solid in front defender. Most people would say that about me if they play with me, and I believe so myself. As far as getting in contact with this guy, this is his big, and he's going to be setting a lot of screens, and this guy is really good on ball. I'm going to give him his props now, but as we just go through it, starting off, no animation there from me, no contact, no anything. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't have to be broken off there, but the one thing that should have happened is some type of two-man one-to-one animation of me being at a spot, beating him to where he was trying to get to. He was trying to get to the top of the key and nothing happened there. I get here, he's trying to go back this direction. He's essentially wanting to go to space here. So I'm already cutting him off in that direction. It doesn't matter where he's going. He gets to a spot, settle. Who's taking a false step like that as a defensive player? I'm trying to maintain lateral movement to stay in front of my guy, but badges like quick first step, tight handles, quick chain, everything in the world can break down this defender where, what do I have? Clamps, ankle braces, Hall of Fame, pick dodger, and we all know that most of those don't even work. So let's go ahead and continue. I get here, suction screen. Couldn't even fight off of it one bit. And I'll say this, I have max badges on this build. So this is just one example. I'm being sucked right there. And there's going to be a lot of me saying that. So just understand it's a big pause. I'm not like that. I just want you to understand, like, this is all vacuum. Vacuum screen. I'm still trying to get laterally. My guy, feet in the mud. Feet in the mud. Not even moving. And then still, why would I turn this way when I'm trying to contest the shot? For one, this is a moving screen the whole time. And two, my guy he doesn't even have the awareness to even get to the guy I'm guarding. So there's one example of just bad innovation on the defensive side of the ball. Like, it doesn't even make the game fun to play if your guy is just out of control the entire time. And that's a wide open shot. He hits it. It's a good look for him. So now we're at a point where I feel like this is a good example of just contact animations, right? Where in 2K19, we had badges like Bruiser, where if somebody came into contact with you, they would lose stamina drastically and their ball handling ability would slow down. Now, people say that Menace is supposed to be that badge to potentially help with that. But honestly, there's no proof that Menace even works this year. And I have that on silver too. So with that, with ankle braces Hall of Fame, clamps Hall of Fame, pick dodger Hall of Fame, and any other badge that may need to support being a good on-ball defender, it's not worth it. So here we go. I'm in a position where I'm one-to-one with him, trying to stay step for step. He gets a step on me, and that's quick first step Hall of Fame. Dribbles back into me. No punishment whatsoever. I feel like I'm in good position right here as far as being in between the screener and the defender, and we all know how 2K operates. That's the thing. This isn't technically good defense overall as far as the basketball standpoint, but when it comes to 2K, this is good positioning just because of the mechanics of the game. We get here. What is that jump back animation? Why would my player even do any of that animation whatsoever? He gets sucked back into the screen for no reason. And that's the issue. That's all it takes is something milliseconds, guys. Those little moments where you're trying to be competitive and not be competitive, that's the problem. My guy, even a whole second later, he's in a totally different position, still trying to fight over the screen while this guy is in a whole nother stratosphere at this point. Open look, easy shot. So it's not a matter of playing good defense or being in a good spot, because we know if I was in front of him, that would have been a different story. So at this point in the gameplay, now he has sharp takeover and he's also like 5'9", but we're the same speed. I'm 93 speed, 91 acceleration, but this guy's on a totally different scale of movement just because of how the game is set up, right? Get to a spot. Once again, it doesn't matter my positioning on the floor. There is no contact animation to punish this ball handler, and that is the problem overall with 2K. This is the reason why most content creators right now are saying the game is extremely fun, because most of them don't play defense anyway, or they just choose to spam X. So with that, now we're in a position, right? I'm circling around the guy, trying to get some type of contact animation. Me and my teammate decided to just box this dude just a little bit to see if the ball would get jarred loose. Nothing happened. Why? Because we shouldn't have to spam X in order to get the ball with bad animations. No contact, no contact. Get to a spot. I'm slowly starting to get suctioned in to random screens. That's the issue right there, right? My guy, you see with that left hand there, he's still trying to fight through a screen, and my man is over here. It's things that you can't control in the game that you simply just want to have a chance on the defensive side of the ball. And I'll say this, right? I've spent $350 on VC as far as trying to make builds. I got a 6'5", I got a 6'3", I got a 6'6", and all of them fall short in movement on the defensive side just because of the suction and the vacuuming in this year's game. So now he gets an open look, cash. So now we've seen examples of vacuum screens and the problem with contact animations. Now that's something I can just add to that. Contact one-on-one animations. They just don't exist. And they're not at a point where you can honestly compete as a defender the way you should or want to, because there's no slowdown of the ball handler. They can just do the Trae Young size up out of it, or they can wait for their big man to suck you into a screen, and it's pretty much GG from that point, because they can either dribble back into you or dribble away from you. So we're going to look at my guy Koza 2K, and this isn't to put him on the spot or anything. It's just to show the mechanics of the game, right? And this is what I want y'all to take away from this video. It's the mechanics in 2K on the defensive side of the ball that just lack. And with those mechanics, man, they have to improve these things in order to make a better overall game. We can't just keep updating dribbling every single release. That is the only thing that I noticed that's been changed since 20 to 22. Now, I'm talking about gameplay, graphics. The game is beautiful. Innovation when it comes to features and things like that. That game, it's top notch, top tier. So when I'm making these references, I'm strictly talking about gameplay one-to-one on the court. I'm not talking about any other features or anything else that they're giving us in the game that's been fantastic. So when it comes to this, right, he's in a position, ball handler's dribbling into him. He actually gets somewhat of a good hip riding animation here, but it's cut short so fast that it doesn't even matter, because now this ball handler is free. If he had any type of stick, this guy would break off of him so fast. Once again, dribbles back into him. At no point here did Koza really have this guy boxed. And I'm not saying that he isn't playing good defense. What I'm saying is there's no mechanic in the game to show that this ball handler is a bad ball handler and should give up the rock. He is completely free to either do it behind the back and break off this, do it through the legs and break off the other way. At this point, Koza is stuck between him and the big man. That's it. Like, that's the only game that Koza's playing right now. And to my point right here, there's no animation connected to the ball handler and the defender. If anything, Koza should have got off right here and should have been able to ride this guy's hip all the way through this screen because this man is out of the picture at this point. What happens? Suction. Doesn't matter. Even if he is moving or isn't moving, it's suction. The defender's out the play. Now that guy has room to make a play. That's an issue right there. It doesn't matter if you have Pick Dodger on Hall of Fame or you don't have it at all. This game's mechanics is just poor on the defensive side of the ball when it comes to one-on-one interactions between the ball handler and the defender. And this is why I've been a proponent of bringing back badges like Bruiser. Because if they're not going to be innovative on one-on-one contact animations between the ball handler and the defender, then you need to have badges that drain the stamina naturally in order for that player to give up the rock eventually. There's no punishment to it. So now we're in another situation where the big man has rim tape, and I'm guarding this character out here. You see it. So once again, right, the mechanics of the game pretty much dictate how you're going to play defense. And this guy dribbling into me, I'm not even getting a vibration cue at this point. It's just going to loop around freely. But what positioning is this, right? You have no control with the left stick or the right stick, how this player gets into this position specifically. Why would he even get there? One or two things could be happening. He's either getting broken off by the quick first step, tight handles, quick chain, whatever of this guy, or the screen is already vacuuming from this far away, so my guy's reacting to it. That just doesn't make sense. He gets turned around. Another situation of no contact between the defender and the man going up for the lay. It's just not, it's not sophisticated at all. Everything around the game is at a point where 2K should be much better than what it is, and it isn't. So at this point, you should be getting the examples that I'm pointing out. As far as chase down blocks, right? The issue with this is the speed threshold. It doesn't matter if you're 78 speed, 72 speed, 70. If you have chase down artists on bronze, you're pretty much catching up to anything at the rim. You could be 95 speed going to the basket, and if somebody's at the 3-point line or at the half court line, they have a chance to catch up and block your shot, especially if they're big and they're taller. That's another issue with the game that I know that they could easily patch it with sliders or whatever the case may be, but I don't know if it's court dimensions being too small because they're trying to fit everything into this city, or it's just bad game mechanics or just not properly balanced. That's another thing. Lateral movement. Like I pointed out, guys are just, it's little to no control. Even if you're going in the proper direction, there's literally a millisecond, it's like a half-second delay into when the ball handler reacts and your guy reacts. And mainly that's because of the badges like quick first step. Quick first step launches the offensive player out of position. So now they have advantage over getting around you, where what does the defensive player have? Clamps. Menace. And even Menace, I can't even put that in because we don't know if it actually works. I haven't heard anybody talk about the badge, and frankly, it may not work. So we got ankle braces, pick dodger, and maybe chase down. So if we get beat, right, we have a chance at the rim. But say if they walk back on you, and that's the main thing this year, right? If they do the walk back on you, there's no closeout badge. So with that, there's nothing that the defensive player has in an advantage to help him other than Intimidator. And they said they revamped the shot contest. So let's bring that up now, right? Let's talk about that. So when it comes to shot contests, they said they removed ghost contests. But with this, the only thing that I've noticed playing the game is that Intimidator is just a lot lower than what it was for most builds. So unless you're 6'7" and higher as far as height, you don't get Hall of Fame Intimidator or Gold Intimidator. So a perimeter defender is just at the will of the offensive player, especially if you're closing out. Yet again, it says properly crowding the shooters with good shot contests will result in penalty of bricks and air balls. But not many times have I seen that the defensive player has the ability to even close out really well just because of all the advantages the offensive player has, right? We got quick chain, got tight handles, quick first step, hyperdrive. We got so many playmaking badges that increase or enhances dribble movement, but there is no enhancement to defensive movement whatsoever. So with that, I think 2K is in a place where they really need to focus on the defensive side of the game going into NBA 2K23 because it's not necessarily something that I believe that they could patch into the game to improve because these things that I'm talking about are just backdoor things, right? I've made a 6'3 defender. It does not matter. He gets vacuumed in. I made a 6'5 perimeter lock. He gets vacuumed in and he can't keep up with the biggest ball handlers or even some of the smallest. Then a 6'6, bigger body, bigger size, close to the same speed, but it doesn't matter because he still is just a step too slow. And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way, but most people just don't care enough because the offensive side of the ball is just so good. You have badges like quick first step, quick chain, hyperdrive, tight handles. Any of those badges, along with badges like limitless takeoff, posterizer, the satisfaction on the offensive side of the ball is much greater than playing defense. So most people just overlook defense entirely. Look, a lot of people may not agree with me on this. And honestly, I don't care if they do or not. The main thing is just like somebody has to talk about this. Defensive movement is just not where it needs to be. And also, if you aren't going to improve movement or contact animations in one-on-one situations, and that's what I'm specifically talking about. I'm not talking about help defense. I'm not talking about closing out on a ball handler. I'm talking about one-on-one ball handler versus defender. There's nothing there for the defender to win those matchups when he's at the will of either a screen, one, or two, quick first step, and all of these other badges that can't technically get contact animation. And might I add, I'm talking about guys who run Clamps Hall of Fame, Ankle Braces Hall of Fame, Pick Dodger Hall of Fame, Menace Hall of Fame, any of those badges in order to increase their ability to play defense. And I'm talking about on the ball. So for those of you that may say off-ball pests, it's literally in the name. That's for off-ball situations. And even that badge doesn't do enough to grab and like slow down an off-ball player. So with that, man, I know this is a different video. I don't technically like these videos more so because I like to enjoy the games that I'm playing, but I think it's just very unfortunate that this game just has little to no innovation. Am I enjoying 2K22? I would say, yeah, I am, especially offline. So many good features with it comes to matchmaking, the park, Pro-Am is in a good space, a lot of good things. But when it comes to defense and just getting the satisfaction on both ends of the floor, unless you're blocking the ball at the rim, that's pretty much it. Everything else is a struggle overall, and it shouldn't be that way. You should feel rewarded on the defensive side just as much as you are on the offensive side of the ball. So, hey, I appreciate you watching this. I know it was long-winded. I'm out.